Hello, ladies. Thank you all for stopping by. And really quick, I just want to, share some encouraging words with some of you ladies that may find yourself in a season of divorce. Maybe you've been divorced for quite some time now. Maybe you are newly divorced. But, I believe that divorce is, overall conversation is it's very a topic that we often hear about. And first of all, let me go ahead and tell some of you ladies that I am standing with you guys. I know how hard and how difficult it is to walk in a season of divorce and to feel like everything that you work for, everything that you plan for, everything that that you was desiring overall for your life, it just came crashing down for one reason or maybe for another, or for maybe a multitude of reasons. But I just want to encourage you that God still has a plan for you, that this is not the end, and you can see this, you can choose today to see this as the beginning of a new life for you, and allow God to use you in this season for the greater good. It will ultimately be for your greater good. But besides that, I believe that divorce is always talked about in a sense of what we lost, in a sense of material gain, um what y'all share together, something always related to that. But rarely do I hear divorced people talking about, the friendships they may have lost. So really quick, I'm just going to share my experience. I was divorced. I was married. I am currently been divorced now for a few years now. And I know all too well about the loss of community. I know all too well about the loss of support that I had during my marriage, but it disappeared, once the divorce was settled. Actually, once the separation happened for me, the people that I known in my marriage that was very close to me, they disappeared. And it blindsided me because I didn't think that would happen. But again, some people are fortunate enough to still have that support system, long after the divorce is over with. But for many of us, we don't have that support system. Our circles change. The people that we, you know, vowed to be there for, and the people that vowed to be there for us, suddenly they disappear. It seems like that they have chosen a side, right, without actually saying, "Hey, I chose this side," or "I chose this person." Okay, so they just silently, for what it feels like anyway, chooses. Okay, and that's like the worst time that somebody can disappear from your life, right? Is when you need them the most, and you're going through one of the most devastating times of your life. And it seemed like the people that vowed to be there for you is the people that just, said kick rocks. Technically it feels like they're kicking you when you're down. But I came up on here to encourage you that God will raise up another community for you. The same people that you thought that you couldn't get over, the same people that vowed to be there for you and you vowed to be there for them. And you might find yourself in a season where it's just not working like that. It just ain't playing out like that. And you walking through a divorce, or maybe, like I said, have already, been divorced for quite some time. But, that support system, those people that held your hands through marriage, those people that was there, possibly on your wedding day, or you met during your marriage, they're just not there. But I came, like I said, to encourage you that God will raise up a group of people for you in the midst of whatever you feel like you're going through, because divorce is not the end of you. I thought that way too, especially when I didn't receive the support that I needed in that season. All of us need somebody to nurture us, somebody to pour up into us, especially when times like divorce, unfortunately, happens to some of us. But God will raise up a community for you. He will raise up the right people for you. And he will put you in the right places at the right time to meet those people. Okay, so you don't have to be stuck right there, and you don't have to come into an agreement of this is all that I have and all that I will ever have, because you may feel like you already lost a lot in that divorce, and quite well you may have, in the physical, lost a lot of in that divorce. But it's one thing to lose material, and it's a whole nother thing to lose, maybe family, maybe friends. Okay, but like I said, that God is a God of restoration. God is a God of redemption, and nothing is ever wasted for God. Okay, so even though that particular person or that particular people is no longer a part of your life, and they may silently chose, your spouse, or what it feel like they chose your spouse over you, God will still restore that. Okay, God will still raise up a community. He knows exactly what you need and whom you need and when you need these people by. Okay, so never discount God out. And I want you to continue to trust that God, he has these people for you, and he will send the right people in the right time, and they will pour into you, and you will be able to pour back into them. Okay, I just don't want you stuck at this point that, yes, divorce, because we know that the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy, right? And some things is foreseen in the divorce, and some things is not foreseen in divorce. And I think losing family and losing friends is one of those things that's unforeseen in the divorce, right? We don't know that we may come to a loss of friendships. We don't know that our family might, choose our spouse or whatever it may seem. But you know what? You have to kind of slowly shift your narrative from being so focused on why did they choose him to, I'm choosing me and I'm trusting God to raise up these people. And you have to honestly get in a position to actually pray for a godly community. Get into a position to actually pray for God to raise up, even if it's just one person for you in this season that can hold your hand, that can walk alongside of you, that can strengthen you, and that can pour into you. And you can honestly pour back into that person to where the divorce don't seem like it will only took so much of you financially, emotionally, physically, but it place you back. It'll place you back by pouring into yourself and putting yourself in nurturing environments. It'll pour back into you that God is still good. You get what I'm saying? Because sometimes divorce can feel like, where is God? Why would he allow this thing to happen? Because it can be so devastating, especially when we're trying to do life alone and we segregating ourselves. Because guess what? When divorce happens, that's the first thing that we do, right? We kind of run and we kind of hide for multiple reasons. I know for me, it was out of shame because, of course, who gets married to get divorced? Nobody gets married to just to get divorced. So when divorce sometimes happens to us for many reasons, some of us go into shame, we go into hiding because we don't want anybody to know that we are those people. We are those people that didn't make it. We are those people that took that vow or whatever may have happened. Okay. And we tend to isolate ourselves. And that's the worst thing that we can do for ourselves. Okay. Is isolate ourselves, and we don't talk about it. We don't share, because how can everybody or somebody else be raised up for you if you isolate yourself, if you're not sharing your story? And God is not a God of condemnation. Okay, he does not want you to go into hide, and he don't want you to hide your story. He don't want you to sit by yourself with this. Okay, now sometimes he will call you into a you and him season. Okay, where it's just you and him, but again, you will know that with the Holy Spirit guide you. But for what I'm talking about now, God is still the God of restoration. He is, and he does have friendships for you. He does have a community for you that he wants to raise up, and that will replace those people. Okay, so you won't have to worry about, okay, well, they didn't live up to their promise. They said they was going to always be there for me. Because sometimes, without us honestly knowing to think about it, we put the focus so much on what we lost, we don't look ahead to what's there to gain, what the Lord has and plan you already has planned for us. Okay, we sometimes get so stuck on it, and it's hard not to. Okay, because it's hard to undo certain type of thinking, right? It's hard to try to redirect your life when you planned your life solely around these people, around this person. But God is still a God of restoration. So I encourage you to sit with God and to go in prayer with God and ask him to truly raise up a kingdom of godly people, a kingdom of a godly community for you, and he will. And you be open to just to receiving these people, because when God sends something, it's just so much better than if we would have just stayed in that place, or so much better if we would have just sought off these people on our own time. Always allow God and put him as the head, and he will direct your path. Again, like I said, I just wanted to encourage the ladies that may be going through a season of divorce one way or another, and may find themselves in a season that you feel like, not only did my marriage was a loss, but I also lost family, I also lost friends, and it hurts. Okay, it feels bad, because I always say the loss of a friendship is a unique type of loss. It's a unique type of feeling. Okay, it's grieving the loss of plans of a person, of a future, that you wrapped around this person, and even down to family. And don't, again, I would encourage you, try not to be so stuck on what you lost, and ask God, what is he doing through you, through this divorce? What is he trying to gain? What are you gaining from this? How can he use you um in this season of your life, to move forward? And what do he want you to do with the lessons that you may have learned? And trust that if anybody left your life or you felt like anybody chose, your spouse over you, that God is still the God of restoration. He's still redeeming the time, and there's absolutely nothing lost with God, okay? So I hope this message blesses you, ladies, and it encourages you. And please, feel free to give me feedback in a comment. Are you in a season of divorce, or maybe you have been through a divorce where you felt like you have lost family, where you have felt like you lost friends, and maybe you need a little encouragement? Always know that I stand in agreement with you. I touch and agree that kingdom connections is your portion. I touch and agree that a godly friendships or multiple godly friendships is your portion. And just please continue to strengthen yourself in the Lord. Continue to walk with the Lord, talk with him, because he cares. And like I said, he definitely wants to hear from you. So please feel free, if you choose to share with me in the comments. Until next time, I love y'all. Please stay blessed and keep the faith.